He stalked people on social media. He stalked the families on social media.
The murder of Gianni Versace. In 1997, the fashion world was stunned when this renowned designer was shot on the steps of his Miami Beach mansion. His assailant, 27-year-old Andrew Cunanan, was already infamous for a cross-country killing spree that left 4 others dead. Cunanan approached Versace as he returned from a morning walk, shooting him in the head with a .40 caliber handgun before fleeing the scene.
After Versace's murder, with Cunanan on the loose, anxiety grew.
Let me assure you that Miami Beach and Dade County are safe.
The murder captivated millennials, dominating headlines while the nationwide manhunt that had begun with his earlier crimes continued. 8 days later, Cunanan was found dead on a houseboat, having taken his own life. Fast forward decades later, and the world still has numerous unanswered questions as to Cunanan's motives.
He was living an extremely elaborate lie. And I think even he believed it at times.
The disappearance of Madeleine McCann.
Well, police have just temporarily broken off their search. They've been searching all morning and, as you said, last night, as have staff and guests. For now, they have nothing to report. Obviously, everyone here is extremely concerned.
This infamous case may be described as one of the most gripping and frustrating in recent history. The young British girl vanished while on vacation with her family in Praia da Luz, Portugal in 2007. Despite years of heavy investigation by professionals around the world, we're no closer now than we were then to finding out what happened to her.
You must just feel so helpless. Suddenly a lot of doors began to close. You know, the UK government and the authorities kind of withdrew, and there was obviously doubt, you know, amongst sectors of the general public.
Some believe she was kidnapped or killed by a stranger. Others are suspicious of her parents, Kate and Jerry, who left their kids alone at night to go eat tapas. In any event, Madeleine McCann is a name that virtually any millennial would recognize.
And I've no doubt that Madeleine was targeted, and that makes us, sick to the core to think that somebody was watching us and our daughter and had targeted her.
The killing of Haymon Lee.
They feel that the process was not fair to them, fundamentally unfair. And what they're asking for is what the law requires, which is a fair process.
In 1999, Lee, an 18-year-old high school student, was found strangled in a grave in Baltimore, Maryland. Her ex-boyfriend, Adnan Syed, was soon arrested, convicted of her murder, and sentenced to life in prison. However, the case gained new life in 2014 when the hit podcast Serial examined the investigation, trial, and evidence used against Syed.
An American journalist called it the Dickens of the podcast age, in the way that you're waiting chapter by chapter for the next edition to come out.
Millions of millennials became obsessed with his involvement or lack thereof in Lee's fate. In 2022, after years of legal battles, Syed's conviction was overturned, only to be subsequently reinstated. The case remains controversial, with many still questioning whether justice was truly served.
This morning, the ongoing fight for freedom after 23 years behind bars.
The Unabomber's reign of terror.
There's been almost as much money spent on the Unabomber investigation as all serial murderers put together.
For nearly 2 decades, the United States was terrorized by a mysterious serial bomber known as the Unabomber. Ted Kaczynski, a former assistant mathematics professor turned recluse, carried out an American-wide mail bombing campaign, targeting universities, airlines, and individuals he saw as symbols of technological destruction. His homemade explosives killed 3 people and injured 23 others. The story gripped the nation, with investigators struggling to track him down until the Washington Post published his 35,000-word manifesto at the FBI's urging. In a shocking twist, Kaczynski's own brother recognized his writing and turned him in.
But 2 phrases in the manifesto jump out at David. Cool-headed logician, and you can't eat your cake and have it too. Phrases his brother often used.
Arrested in 1996, the Unabomber's legacy of fear still lingers, especially for millennials who grew up hearing his name.
The Washington Post had published a special section containing the 35,000-word manifesto of the serial mail bomber known as Unabomber.
The murder of Lacy Peterson.
And I think for many people, they thought he didn't look like he was grieving. He never looked as though he was upset.
On Christmas Eve in 2002, 27-year-old Lacy Peterson, who was almost 8 months pregnant, vanished from her Modesto, California home. As the search for her intensified, suspicion quickly fell on her husband, Scott Peterson, whose calm demeanor and statements raised red flags.
Scott Peterson denied interview requests.
You told me you'd lost your wife and this was the first holidays you'd spend without her?
I keep hearing Lacy say to me, "Mom, please find me and Connor and bring us home."
The case took a shocking turn when it was revealed that Scott had been having an affair with a woman who claimed he told her his wife was already dead. In April 2003, Lacy's remains and those of her unborn son washed ashore in San Francisco Bay, and Scott was arrested shortly after. His trial became a media spectacle, and he was convicted of first-degree murder in 2004.
I believe that Lacy went over there to see what was going on. That's when she was taken.
The Long Island serial killer.
Eventually, police would find 10 sets of remains in the area. Maureen and 3 others were found first and dubbed the Gilgo Four, discarded in a similar fashion, roughly 500 feet apart.
The culprit behind the Gilgo Beach serial killings remains a chilling mystery. In 2010, police searching for a missing woman in New York discovered multiple sets of human remains. Over time, at least 11 victims, mostly petite women involved in sex work, were linked to the case. The gruesome findings sparked widespread fear and speculation, with theories ranging from a lone killer to a possible police cover-up.
Wait, what part of the beach was this? Let me look at the map again. Like, we couldn't even get a grasp on just the logistics and where all the bodies were found.
In 2023, authorities finally arrested Rex Heuermann, an architect with a seemingly normal life, but many questions have yet to be answered. Millennials continue to follow the story through documentaries, podcasts, and Reddit discussions.
I'm standing here with my law enforcement partners in the Gilgo Task Force to announce the indictment of defendant Rex Andrew Heuermann, 59 years of age.
The Boston Marathon incident.
How did he become the person who allowed himself to do this terrible
It is now
act?
up to a federal jury to decide the appropriate punishment for Boston Marathon bomber.
They would have to vote on whether or not he should get the death penalty.
In 2013, tragedy struck the Boston Marathon when 2 bombs exploded near the finish line, killing 3 people and injuring nearly 300 others. The perpetrators, brothers Tamerlan and Dzhokhar Tsarnaev, had planted pressure cooker bombs in backpacks, turning a day of celebration into chaos. The attack shocked the world, and the ensuing manhunt captivated millennials, with social media playing a key role in tracking developments.
Only 2 days had passed. Now they were looking for every image of the suspect they called White Hat. Massachusetts State Police analysts found him with a man in a black hat.
After a shootout with police, Tamerlan was killed while Dzhokhar was captured and later sentenced to death. The bombing left a lasting scar in the U.S., leading to heightened security at public events and sparking debates about domestic terrorism and radicalization in the digital age.
Victor 3-6, 1 in custody.
The Jean Benet Ramsay case.
I immediately ran back upstairs and pushed open her door, and she was not in her bed.
On December 26, 1996, a young beauty queen was found murdered in her family's Boulder, Colorado home. Her mother, Patsy, discovered a ransom note demanding $118,000, almost the exact amount of her husband John's recent bonus. Jean Benet's body was located in the basement. She had suffered a skull fracture, been strangled, and may have been sexually assaulted.
Did things move too quickly? Was the perpetrator, who had that as his motive, overtaken by events?
Right, or what about concealing the body for a time too?
Or concealing the body, right.
The case garnered massive media attention, with initial suspicion falling on Jean Benet's parents and brother, Burke. However, DNA evidence later cleared them of involvement. The crime remains unsolved, haunting those who grew up seeing it unfold in the media and fueling endless online speculation.
They talk about how they were so upset and all the pain, but like, you don't see any of it in their face at all.
The Columbine High School tragedy.
Experts we talked to feel it is tragic the isolation and hatred went undetected at the school, yet they say the key to preventing future violence may really lie with parents and kids at home.
On April 20th, 1999, the world watched in horror as 2 heavily armed students, Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, carried out a brutal massacre at their high school in Littleton, Colorado. The teens murdered 12 students and a teacher before taking their own lives, leaving behind a nation grappling with the shocking reality of school shootings.
And I looked up at Dylan and I said, "Hey, Dylan." And he said, "Hey, man." And I said, "What are you doing?" And it still like chills me how he was just like, killing people.
The attack, meticulously planned for over a year, involved homemade bombs and knives as well. In the aftermath, debates raged over gun control and media influence, while myths and conspiracy theories spread rapidly. Columbine remains one of the most infamous school shootings in history, forever altering how the world views gun violence and school safety.
You all right?
Yeah, what's going on?
I saw 2 guys come from the other side.
Holy God.
The death of Kaylee Anthony.
And until somebody tells us what occurred in that family dynamic on June 16, 2008. this case is always going to be a mystery.
Dubbed the social media trial of the century, the story of Casey Anthony captivated and outraged the nation. In 2008, the young Florida mother failed to report her young daughter Kaylee missing for over a month. Even before Kaylee's remains were discovered that December, Casey's erratic behavior fueled suspicion.
I found my daughter's car today, and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car.
She repeatedly lied to police, changed her story, and partied instead of searching for her child. Despite intense public scrutiny, she was acquitted of homicide in 2011, a verdict often compared to the O.J. Simpson trial for its shock factor. To this day, Casey maintains her innocence, but few are convinced.
If the lynch mob justice is as it was that I saw this afternoon, I'm concerned for her safety, that people will go after her. Wherever she goes, she will always be Casey Anthony.
Did we miss any major millennial true crimes? Let us know below. Check out these other clips from Watch Mojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.